So I like to sum it up. I like to sum it up using these kinds of this kind of language. I see worldview. First of all, every human being has a worldview of some kind. It's not a question of will I have a worldview. It's just which one will you have. And really, every worldview in the universe is trying to answer the major questions of life. Every worldview is a story about life, a narrative, a meta-narrative about life. So all the big questions, and you just take some of the questions we find in Genesis chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Who has ultimate authority in this universe? All right? In the beginning, God. If you don't know who's in charge, you got chaos. And we have chaos in this country today because our young people don't know who's in charge. Secondly, where did we come from? Okay? How did we get here? These are big, huge questions that every human is asking and every world is attempting to answer. So you continue. What is wrong with this world? Why are people so bad? I got on a plane and sat down next to this guy, and he said to me, where'd you come from? Where you been? And I said, somewhere. I don't even remember where it was at. And he said, well, what were you doing there? And I was like, I gave a speech last night. And he said, on what? I said, on biblical worldview. And he said, I was raised Southern Baptist. I gave up on that decades ago. I'm an atheist. And then he just popped the question. Everybody loves to pop. He said, so you know why I'm an atheist? He said, because if God's so good, why is there so much evil? Okay, which is a legitimate question. And there's tons of, everybody asks that question. And so I said, all right, so you're an atheist. Let's work off your terms. Let's forget that there's a God. Let's assume there is no God. Now, sir, you tell me, why is there so much evil? Because what dawned on me a number of years ago was that everybody has to answer all these questions, not just Christians. And actually, the reason I believe so much in the biblical worldview is because the biblical worldview makes sense in the real world. All right, so I know why there's evil. I know about man coming to this world, rebelling against the God of heaven, sin entering our nature. So every human being is born with sin. We're bent. All the evidence says we're bent to do wrong. And left to ourselves, outside of the power of Christ and the blood of Christ, and outside of moral formation and training, humans turn into little animals. Okay? So these are, worldviews trying to answer all these questions. I think the Christian worldview answers them the best. Questions like, so if a big, huge question is what is wrong with this world, the next question is, how do we fix it? Everybody's trying. So take your radical environmentalist, your naturalist, okay? I was in California and I went to a restaurant and they didn't actually have a paper straw, and I was thrilled. I was thanking God for a plastic straw. I want to save the planet. Don't misunderstand me. I believe we're stewards. We're vice regents of the world. And so we shouldn't destroy the earth. That's stupidity. But at the same time, I don't worship that. And so I said to this waitress, I said, thank God you have plastic straws here. And she looked at me and said, she got like this totally offended look. And she said, well, I can't wait until we get paper straws to save the planet or something like that. I was like, but you see, she had a salvation message. If we don't save the planet, we're all going to die, etc. So every worldview has to answer the question, what is wrong? How do we fix it? How do we fix it? Oh, that's Christ is the Redeemer. He redeems us so we can become redeemers of all the brokenness. This leads us to purpose. What is our purpose for being here? Okay? So all of these major worldview questions, well, you look at Genesis 2, it jumps into other things. What is a family? Why do we believe in two genders only? Okay? Because God created us male and female. And if you look in the real world, that works out really beautifully. But when you mess with God's good design in any area, bad things happen. So I like to say worldview, we call it creation, fall, redemption, restoration. Those are the four pillars of a biblical worldview. And they're really the four pillars of all worldview. Creation, where do we come from? Fall, what is wrong with us? Redemption, how do we fix it? And restoration, what is our purpose for being in this universe? And so anytime you get the answer to those major questions wrong, you are going to end up with a twisted, contorted, messed up world. And that's why today the whole gender thing has lost its mind, and we are destroying children's lives, destroying them, because we're getting the wrong answers. That worldview is built on a completely false foundation.